Kuzangpo and a very warm welcome to Bhutan this week with me, Pemal Hutton. Our top stories. His Majesty the King promoted 8 armed force personnel to the rank of brigadier today. His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gyaltsen graced the 47th passing out parade of the Jigmeling Police Training Institute in Gellifu. And villagers of Bab Gyog worry as their irrigation channel remains blocked with huge debris from the road widening works. His Majesty the King, accompanied by Her Majesty the Gyaltsen, graced the 47th Batch Guksers Attestation Parade. His Majesty the King, accompanied by Her Majesty the Gyaltsen, graced the 47th Batch Guksers Attestation Parade.
Upon arrival, His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Gyaltsen were presented with a guard of honor by the parade. It was followed by the oath-taking ceremony. 150 men and 50 women recruits who completed their training at Jigmeling, and 4 men and 2 women officers who were trained at Tashigasa Police Training Center took the oath. Addressing the Guksers, His Majesty the King said that as they carried out their duties, they must always honor the sacred oath they took today to serve and protect the country and the people without fear or hesitation. His Majesty reminded the recruits and officers of the national goals to protect the security and sovereignty of the country, maintain peace and unity among the people, and enable the people to achieve economic prosperity and fulfill their aspirations by establishing good governance.
The Nagi Lerimnalu Guzubde the Kalangiva Guzude, the Kalangnalu, Majera, Peyushigum, the Pantsuktive Beshimda, Zawasumlu, Chicho Kanchugi Tole, Kade Tata, Sechi, Cha Shuigi, Kalab, Puimbal. The Charage, the Sechi Yanka Bagdive Cha Shuigablu, Darigi, Kalangdi, Kade Tata, Samka Tendive, Janas developnil.
His Majesty said that as policemen and policewomen, it is their responsibility to be exemplary citizens, and while working to serve the people, they must endeavor to earn the trust and confidence of the people.
Je Timsum Gagdegi Mamisugi, Je Lejim Betenas developnil. Je Zamdi Chegi Betongosa. The GD Lokshuma La Beni Gutsubda Shabtogi La Shumi Beuchiten, the Chera Miselu Talema Labnida, the Antau Beni, the Tilutshu Matuma Beshimda, the Najera Kaira Kalatamja, Pifugi Michi, Najakaira, the Miselu Cha Shabto Shumichi Ise, the Semka Jakdive.
His Majesty expressed appreciation for several policemen working in various parts of the country who had shown exemplary honesty and dedication to service. His Majesty reminded the recruits and officers to take inspiration from these examples and carry out their duties with the highest standards of integrity. The passing out parade is dedicated to the 60th birth anniversary of His Majesty the 4th to Gyalpo. It also marks the 50th anniversary of the Royal Bhutan Police. During the 11 months of training, the new recruits learned about laws, investigating procedures, traffic management, field craft, tactics, unarmed combat, and weapon handling. Today, there are over 3,500 police personnel in the country. The recruits presented a drill and culture program to their Majesties. His Majesty later granted an audience to the police superintendents and other officers from across the country. People from the neighboring areas welcomed their Majesties with tocha offerings along the highway. Compiled for Suramondi in Gilfo, Dikichorindaji, BBS News.
With the local government elections due next year, more number of women in rural communities are gearing up to participate in the elections.
Ura is home to over 1,000 villagers, and half the women here are uneducated. As of now, not a single woman has ever taken part in LG elections. When it comes to politics, villagers have so far placed more confidence in man.
In my village, most people trust men than women. They have no confidence in women. They think women are incapable of raising issues at public sphere.
In Punakha, 29-year-old Pasang Wangmo from Mentegang is determined to contest in the next LG elections. Pasang says there is lack of support from women in the community.
In 2011, I contested in LG election for the post of Cup. As I had spent very less time in my village, I had less interaction with people in my village. That could be one of the reasons I lost the elections. However, I want to contest in 2016 LG election and I hope to win.
Meanwhile, many women in Chusegang in Serpang have decided to contest in the next LG elections. According to them, they have full support from their families.
Ngagi ting da dila ngagi ting da dit nasin disige oiro am digi am ci besub da di ngachi kachi bema sub se ngachi charo disu dila ngagi ting da de ngagi nasin boom disige de cham to chuni gi recha annam samani mam mo chuni gi dila ngagi cham to ni singla bemi chuni me no de am sub so mam gira chama to mi to vela ngachi na di chama to ma to wa tela chi ani gi kangil thula ro chama to ni se noksam di la te misir disugi chapchur de kadiviga ngara de chamatoni ki reoil
mapangani pesitan te dilen ani 2016 nanga chokpana chamatoni sinodola dilengara gi mapgen chamato dilen chapchur ngai pyo singai mapge chapchur yela te chamatoni sinodola.
The program officer from REIT Bhutan has been networking with women in rural communities to further encourage women in local government elections.
Women's empowerment is one of the core program areas of REIT Bhutan, and as part of that, we do a lot of awareness programs on women's rights. We have classes for women on women in leadership, confidence building, public speaking, and we believe that through these programs, the women that we work with have become more confident, is vocal when it comes to voicing out their opinions, and understands the importance of being able to make decisions.
Sonam Dema for BBS News.
4 Chioks of Barb Kiok may not be able to plant paddy this year as they have lost 2 of the irrigation channels to the road widening works on the Thimbu-Wangdi highway. The irrigation channels, both 8 kilometers each, were filled with boulders and mud from the widening works, making it impossible for water to flow.
Tokpa Kile Penjo from Iokachuk and Apap Gyok owns about 2 acres of paddy fields. Kile and his family enjoy good paddy yields every year, but it is going to be a different story this year. He is worried, and so is his family, as they may not be able to carry out paddy plantation works with one of the irrigation channels damaged by the road widening works.
This year, I'm worried that I may not be able to carry out paddy plantation work. Even if we manage to do so, yield may be low compared to earlier years due to irregular water supply.
People of the Forge Works and neighbors from the Department of Roads cleared debris from the lower irrigation channel, but they have not been able to clear the upper irrigation channel as debris is huge and unmanageable.
We have two irrigation channels, the upper and lower irrigation channels. The upper irrigation channel is in a bad condition as compared to the lower one. We had tough time clearing the boulders.
Although the lower irrigation channel has been cleared and water flow has resumed, most villagers in the Forge Works still have to depend on water supply from the upper irrigation channel that begins from Tipchasa and goes all the way till Tsokana village in Lubisa.
My Chiok has been affected the most as most of my fields lie in the upper area. We are getting late for paddy plantation this year.
Tsiringpem from Yusukhachuak has over 5 acres of paddy fields in the upper area, and she depends on her daily needs from the income she earns by selling rice every year.
We are not able to identify the exact location of our irrigation channel since the channel, I believe, is filled with big boulders. Given this situation, I'm afraid we may not be able to carry out our paddy cultivation this year.
The GUP and the people in the Gyeok reported the matter to the Department of Roads in Lubesa, proposing to clear boulders from the irrigation channel. People proposed to clear the debris themselves but on daily wage. The current wage of 165 Newton a day, villagers say, is less.
The
Department of Roads requested for our help, which we agreed. But we are not happy with the daily wage rate Newton 165. We agreed to work, but we'll have to negotiate the rate. It will be nice if they pay us Newton 500 daily.
The executive engineer in the meantime said that they need the approval of the Works and Human Settlement Ministry to pay more than the actual daily wage.
Currently we have a manpower shortage. So we have came to a consensus where the public agreed to contribute the labor force. But again we had a problem in that because of the prevailing rate.
The department will accordingly propose for the need to revise the daily wage, only after which works to clear the upper irrigation channel will be executed. Compiled for Chunidema in Punakha, Dikichorin Doji, PBS News.
Druke, the national airline, received a new Airbus aircraft. The Airbus A319, which flew in from Germany, promises an upgrade in both efficiency and comfort of passengers.
At around 9:15 a.m. this morning, Druke's newest acquisition, the new Airbus A319, flew in at the Paro International Airport. The aircraft was purchased at a cost of over $43 million from the aircraft manufacturing company Airbus. The plane has several technical upgrades, most visibly the shocklets, which provide improved aerodynamic efficiency of the wings and fuel-saving advantage of up to 4%.
The engine on this aircraft, it has better improved technology, and with the improved technology on the engine and also with the shocklet on the wings, it will give you an enhanced performance out of Paro, which will be able to carry about 1,800 kgs more.
Guests were also taken on a trip over the valley in the central and west. With the new plane, passengers can experience several improvements, most notably the in-flight entertainment system. The overhead screens will display movies and documentaries for passengers. The aircraft has also lighter and thinner seats, With the same comfort but with more space, larger overhead baggage stores and charger ports inside the plane.
We are looking at Yangon in Burma is another sector that we are looking at trying to operate. So hopefully by end of this year or beginning 2016, we're looking at operating to Yangon. At the same time also by autumn, by September, October of this year, we are going to increase the frequencies to Singapore from 2 flights a week to 3 flights a week.
Turkey's new Airbus is expected to come into commercial operation in 3 to 4 days after the completion of some technical works. Compiled for Ishi Gelson in Paro, Tikichoran Doji, BBS News.
An increasing number of Bhutanese are seeking traditional treatment in the country. While the traditional treatment has proven to be beneficial and effective, the National Traditional Medicine Hospital has also introduced various services to treat various diseases and health problems.
60-year-old Namgye Wangmo has been suffering from frequent headache and giddiness for last few days. She has come to the National Traditional Medicine Hospital to seek treatment for her pain. She is waiting for her turn to visit the Dungtso.
I've been suffering from severe headache. I prefer coming here since I feel the treatment is better here.
Like Namgye, more than 200 people visit this traditional hospital every day. Some come here because of their strong belief in traditional healing, while some say they find the treatment provided in the traditional hospital to be more effective. Ugin Wangchu is a Dungtso here. He says the number of patients is on rise today because of increased facilities.
There
is a rise in the patient these days. Most who come here say they are allergic to medicines like antibiotics that are prescribed in the general hospital. Also now we have number of facilities introduced here, like herbal steam bath, herbal massage and others.
With
an increased turn-up, the traditional hospital has also introduced number of services to provide a better treatment. Today, it offers herbal steam bath, hot compression, cold compression and other services. There are 10 Dungtsos serving the people. Each of them sees an average of 30 patients every day. Today, Bhutan has just a single traditional medicine hospital and 53 traditional medicine units across the country. Meanwhile, Namgye hopes that she recovers soon. She says she usually hesitates to take various medicines prescribed from the general hospital, since she does not know about its chemical content. But the medicines prescribed from the traditional medicine hospital are indigenous and are made of herbs that grow in the country. Sonam Churan, PBS News.
Seeking traditional treatment in the country is becoming more popular. But that is a concern as well, says the Department of Traditional Medicine. With an increasing number of people visiting the traditional hospital and units, the department is facing a shortage of indigenous medicines.
More than 200 people visit traditional hospital every day. The Department of Traditional Medicine attributes the shortage of traditional medicines to various reasons.
We are a government organization, and in fact we are basically a factory, but operating under the government rules and regulations. That is what we see it as a bit too restrictive to operate a factory. Like we work from 9 to 5 p.m. like any other office of the government, and beyond that, even if we want to put extra hours, our staff would not be entitled for overtime payment. The other reason is the unavailability of certain raw materials, and that also mainly because of the lack of interest from our Highlanders in collecting the raw materials.
Ugyen also shared that the international laws and the national laws on the protection of endangered animals to be another reason. He said, mugs from musk deer, bile from bears, and tiger's bone are traditionally used in the formulation of certain traditional medicines. Ugyen said, since Bhutan is a part of various international conventions, the Department of Traditional Medicine are not allowed by law to use them, due to which the department is not able to produce many of the medicines that were traditionally produced earlier. But the department is exploring avenues to address these issues.
We are pursuing at various levels, like the first one to corporatize the unit here so that we can introduce a lot of changes that can improve efficiency and productivity. The second one on the raw materials aspect also we are pursuing with the Ministry of Agriculture and Forest to how we can strengthen the participation of community groups. And if at all they are not interested in the collection of medicinal plants, how we can change the policy of the government that we find alternative solutions and make the medicinal plants available for use in traditional medicines.
There are in total 94 different kinds of essential herbal medicines produced in the country, of which only 55 to 60 are available and produced abundantly. Sonam Chudan for BBS News.
The slow work progress with the blacktopping work of Barsam Rijugyo Connectivity Road in Tashigang has become a talk of the town. The road is the first geo-connectivity road to be blacktopped in the country.
Much to the hype of the people of Barsam Gyeok, Prime Minister Tsuing Topge inaugurated the 20.5-kilometer Barsam Rijugyo Connectivity Road blacktopping works back in December last year. During the inauguration, Lynchen said that the road will be a role model for the rest of the geo-connectivity roads in the country. But even after 3 months since the inauguration, the actual blacktopping works are yet to begin. The slow work progress therefore has drawn criticism on social media and left the local residents worried. The Department of Roads in Tashigang says the work progress is disheartening but still has sufficient time to complete.
He has got a contract period of 15 months, out of which he has now already run over 4 months. And he has got only 10.5 months or so. So, by looking at the current progress, it is quite disheartening to see that he has not even fully mobilized the materials.
Around 70 to 80 truckloads of stone aggregates and sand have been stockpiled near the Barsam Gyeok Center and along the way, but no heavy machineries have reached the site as of a few days ago. People therefore are doubtful of completing the work on time. The Department of Roads says the contractor hereafter will have to revise his work plan and put additional resources to complete the work on time.
Given the present progress, we feel that it's not up to the expectation that we will finish on time, looking at the present progress. But if the contractor really wishes or really desires to finish the work on time, deliver on time, then I think he should be able to by deploying extra resources.
The 36 million Newton blacktopping works have been awarded to Thindam Private Limited based in Thimphu. Over the phone, the contractor said the actual blacktopping will begin from today. But according to latest updates, the contractor has not submitted the test results of the construction materials, let alone beginning the construction works. The contractor said they have been mobilizing machineries and materials for the past 3 months to begin the work. They have even leased a stone quarry from the Natural Resources Development Corporation 30 kilometers away from the Gyeok to supply stone aggregates for the blacktopping works. The contractor therefore says that there will be good work progress in the coming days. Compiled for Pema Namgye in Konglung, Digichoran Doji, BBS News.
In the interest of effective waste management and prevention, the Thimbu Thomde has developed new mechanism. According to the new mechanism, the Thomde plans to impose fines and penalties to heads of the organizations and agencies and property owners if waste are found within their premises.
If this mechanism for waste prevention is implemented and the wastes are found within the occupying agencies of the government buildings, the heads will be levied fines and penalties, chief executive officers for housing colonies and the chief for military colonies. The Thomde says this is to reduce the work burden of the sanitary inspectors as they are currently being confronted with shortage of inspectors. They said people also need to change their perception that it is not only sanitary inspectors' responsibility but theirs too.
If we levy penalties or a fine to the head of the agencies, because staff or officers down the line to the sweeper, everyone is bound to listen to their boss. And with this fear, I think those people will act little seriously, carefully, and they will manage their waste in and around the campuses. So therefore, if we are not penalizing those to those people, we are directly penalizing or imposing fine to the head of the agencies.
The mechanism is also expected to save resources and improve service delivery of the Thomde. If implemented, only few of the selected sanitary inspectors will be deployed using only a vehicle to monitor the waste, as sending one sometimes resulted in being abused and threatened by the public. As part of this mechanism, people can also report to the Thomde with evidence of those littering waste. The identity of the informant would not be disclosed but instead be rewarded. Currently, the Thomde has sought endorsement for this mechanism from the National Environment Commission. In response to this new mechanism of the Thomde, some chief executive officers supported while some did not. Property owners' opinions on the mechanism also varied.
Kenen dumisuludu ngachara te lejum chi kaje dajabe de ngachagi te long sessionbil niso ngolo lejum la de tenis ge tonte beru ngachara ge de be
Mito bon se nomela lejum chi mijo dong se.
I think it is not going to work because most of the house owners do not stay near their house. To look after the waste is the responsibility of those tenants and the people living nearby.
Thakorna dumi disugi kara khonagi responsibility me.
Meanwhile, the Thomde is also in pursuit of including some of the common offences which are not included in the Waste Prevention and Management Regulation 2012. The offences are lying and spitting of doma, display of posters, billboards and banners without approval, and cleaning of area after organising programs. Chetan Dupchu, PBS News.
People of Lingshigyeok have requested for experienced health workers in their basic health unit to avoid walking for 4 days to the capital due to complications. Similarly, Seogyeok has asked for one additional medical staff in their BHU for effective medical services. Gubs of Se and Lingshigyeoks submitted these proposals in the Thimbu Zongkok Tsogdu. Lingshigyeok said, as of now, there have been cases where pregnant women are referred to Thimphu Hospital without proper examination. Sometimes pregnant women are referred for delivery way before the due date, and sometimes it is just the opposite. Therefore, people are uncertain of their skills and professionalism.
At times, pregnant women are referred to Thimphu Hospital 2 months before the due date, and sometimes the referrals are suggested on wrong time, and women give birth on the way before reaching the capital. So people wonder if the health workers are either careless or lack experience. So people have requested for at least one experienced health worker so that if complication occurs, it can be handled well.
Likewise, Suegub said people in his Geok have repeatedly asked for one additional health worker in the BHU. At present, the lone health worker occasionally has to visit the capital for workshops and trainings, and the BHU has to be closed in his absence.
We have one health assistant in the BHU, but sometimes when he travels to capital for trainings and workshops, the BHU remains closed. This compromises timely service to the people, so we have asked for one more health staff, that too a woman, so that she can comfortably deal with women patients.
But the health ministry said it will take some time to get an experienced health staff for Lingxi Gyok.
I cannot promise exactly the date and the month. However, that the graduation of health workers from the RIS starts from July 2015. So during that time, so we'll put up such requirement to the Ministry of Health for the additional staff in Lingxi Basic Health Unit Grade 2.
For Se Gyok, the Zongkak health officer said another health worker from neighboring BHUs will be sent to the Gyok whenever necessary. Pemal Hadan, PBS News. Cotton cultivation that once became a thing of the past is slowly but reviving in Pemagatal. Putting their past experiences into use, it was initiated by an old couple in Chimung village. As they proceed with the business, the couple also spreads messages in the neighborhood to practice the tradition of cotton cultivation, asking people to choose locally produced threads over the imported ones.
This is a cotton plant. It has been almost half a century since villagers here have not cultivated cotton. With their past experience in cotton cultivation, 70-year-old Doji Pemo and 80-year-old Sewang Doji started to cultivate cotton since a few years ago. The couple produces threads to weave clothes. The old couple said they discontinued cotton cultivation for a while as people brought threads for weaving at cheaper prices from the market.
With rapid developments taking place, I was worried we wouldn't be able to do much work. I just hope the harvest will be better than the past. That would be helpful.
During the olden days, the rich people used to color the cotton threads and weave various colorful patterns of clothes. The rich had their own pattern and design in their kiras, and the poor had their own plain ones. After a while, people stopped cultivating cotton. It has been a few years that my wife and I have started to cultivate cotton again. But since we are old, we cannot work a lot.
The younger generation in the village have also taken interest after seeing what the old couples have been doing so far.
We have only read and heard about the traditional practices, but today, seeing this old couple revives the practice. We feel like we would be able to preserve the age-old traditions. We are always told to preserve our traditions and culture. Today, seeing them work, I realized that there was a lot of difference between hard work done in the old times and the hard work done today.
According to the couple, there are differences both in quality and the price of the threads they produce and the ones available in the market.
It has been almost 3 years now. I feel like the business will get better. If we follow our traditional practices and produce our own goods, it will help in generating our own revenue. I would always prefer old clothes made here over imported clothes bought from outside.
Even the neighbors are not taking interest in the work. They say it looks very hard. I tell them to learn step by step. If one day we don't get threads from the neighboring country, we will still need clothes to cover up. And in times like that, the threads produced by ourselves will come in handy.
Desan, who is a tour guide, helps them market their products amongst tourists. Kampal for Tiledujin Pemagasil Sonam Hamo for BBS News.
Well, that ends the program. Join us next time for yet another edition of Bhutan This Week. Until then, I'm Pemal Hadan saying goodbye.